This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Developing at 6. Within the past 2 hours, the attorney representing the prime suspect in the disappearance of an Orlando mother blasted Orlando police during a news conference.
High-profile attorney Mark James said his client hasn't done anything wrong. Earlier today, we tried to talk to Dale Smith about the disappearance of his ex-fiancée, but Smith didn't say a word. And today's news conference came as these new pictures surfaced of Smith taking part in a hot body contest a few years ago. Channel 9's Kathy Belich is live in Orlando tonight. And Kathy, you were at this afternoon's news conference. What happened?
That's right. Well, right here at the downtown office of Smith's lawyers, they told us today he has an alibi that he was at his parents' house with the couple's children at the time that Michelle Parker disappeared. And his lawyers criticized police for calling him a suspect anyway and asking him to take a lie detector test.
Any words to OPD?
Only Channel 9 questioned missing mom Michelle Parker's ex-fiance Dale Smith today as he left his lawyer's office. He did not say a word, but his lawyers had a lot to say at a news conference about police calling Smith the primary suspect after he refused to take a lie detector test. Smith's attorneys say the test is only 86% reliable.
If in fact somebody were to fail it, then they're going to be stigmatized. If they pass it, the investigation continues.
We asked several times whether Smith was caught lying to police. Attorney Mark James answered no. He claims Smith left his home with the couple's 3-year-old twins at the same time Michelle left his home, and says he arrived at his parents' house with the children an hour and 12 minutes later.
Get in your cars and run that track and see if you can do it. And in between, you've killed and gotten rid of, disposed of a body.
James says it's not right that Smith's criminal past is coming back to haunt him. Today, Channel 9 found out he was accused 20 years ago of sexual battery, but charges were never filed. He also faced aggravated battery and battery charges in the 1990s. Now, attorney Mark James says Smith has told police about his alibi, that he was at his parents' house that day during 3 voluntary statements he gave to police. And he says there are eyewitnesses to that alibi, but wouldn't tell us who they are. Reporting live in downtown Orlando, Kathy Belich, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And within the past 10 minutes, we found out the Department of Children and Families has just issued an order to take Smith's children into protective custody. There will be an emergency hearing tomorrow to discuss where the kids will go. We'll let you know what happens.
Even though Dale Smith has been named as the prime suspect in this case, he may never be charged. In another case, James Hadaway was considered the prime suspect in the disappearance of Tracy Ocasio. She was last seen in 2009, leaving an Orlando bar with Hadaway, but so far Hadaway has never been charged in her disappearance. The disappearance of Michelle Parker has created huge interest, not just here in Central Florida, but all over the country. We want to know what you think, and you can post your comments online and see what other people are saying. Just go to the homepage of WFTV.com. Also online, you can see the pictures of Dale Smith when he took part in the hot body contest. Well, if you thought it was chilly last night, get ready for even colder temperatures tonight.
Thanks to a cold front, we're in the 60s right now, but some areas are going to soon fall into the 40s. Certified meteorologist Brian Monahan's in Severe Weather Center 9. Brian?
And Bob, Marty, about the only thing keeping us from getting even colder tonight, a few patchy clouds around Central Florida. There's the satellite view, most of us with a mostly clear sky. Tell you what, I've been tracking the temperature fall over the last hour. We are down another 4 degrees since 5 o'clock in downtown Orlando at 62, 60s now for Cocoa Beach, 50s around Ocala at 57 degrees as we trace the temperature fall tonight into northwest Orange County. Apopka, frost not a concern, certainly no freezing issues, but it's going to be chilly tonight in Apopka from 58 at 8 o'clock down to 49 degrees at 6 o'clock. Coming up, I'm updating the county by county low forecast for tonight.
All right, see you then, Brian. New at 6, only Channel 9 talked with a college student at Florida A&M who says she was rushed to the emergency room after being hazed.
That incident happened just a few days before Robert Champion died in Orlando earlier this month. Channel 9's Darlene Jones is live at the Citrus Bowl tonight. And Darlene, the details would be shocking to a lot of people. What else did this girl tell you?
Yes, they would. We talked to her for about 20 minutes, Marty, and she said that some band members feel like they have to join these underground groups within the FAMU marching band just so they could belong. She said some of the group's names are Clones, Red Dogs, and they all do it just so they can be accepted by veteran band members. 26-year-old Robert Champion mentored several members of the famed Florida A&M marching band before he was hazed to death, including Bria Hunter, who spoke with us exclusively today.
Because, he would always tell me, don't let people do it to you.
It appears Champion wasn't taking his own advice, and neither did Hunter. Afraid of retaliation, she didn't want to give a lot of details about what she says high-ranking band members allegedly did to her. But according to this police report, Hunter's initiation period started in September and didn't end until she was rushed to the emergency room in November. That was 11 days before Robert Champion's death in Orlando. And around the same time, 26 members of the band were suspended by Dr. Julian White for hazing.
That morning, when I woke up, my leg was numb.
What were you afraid of at that time?
I was just scared because, that never happened before.
At 112 pounds and 5'1", Hunter said she was beaten at least 3 times this semester. The 2 suspects named in her case were blacked out of the report we received from Tallahassee police because they're still investigating.
Why do you guys still participate in this hazing process?
So we can be accepted. If you don't do anything, then it's like you're lame.
She claims there were 10 or 11 other band members who were being hazed along with her, and Dr. White, she said, always told underclassmen after each practice not to go to upperclassmen's homes because he was worried about hazing. Reporting live in Orange County, Darlene Jones, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Developing at 6 from Seminole County, 4 people were arrested just within the past few hours for following and then robbing a pharmacy customer. As we told you at 5, investigators say the victim picked up painkillers from an Oviedo Walgreens and was then followed 11 miles to Castleberry, where he was robbed and shot. The robbers were eventually caught in Castleberry following a chase. Channel 9's Renee Stoll is live there now. Renee?
Well, this quiet Castleberry neighborhood is where the shooting turn chase ended, and you can still see there is evidence, including a police car that rammed the SUV to stop it from getting away.
Through and through this way.
The victim shot in the leg after he was stalked and followed by 4 people in an SUV after he picked up his pain prescriptions at a pharmacy in Oviedo. After picking up his medications, the man tells Channel 9 the SUV followed him to a gas station. A man in the SUV came to the victim's car and held a gun to him, trying to rob him of his jewelry and medications. A fight over the gun ended up with it going off and the victim shot in the leg. The victim then chased the SUV to this neighborhood while he got on the phone with 911. It resulted in Castleberry police ramming the SUV.
As he took off, the police unit right there rammed into them. The driver and the passenger jumped out the car, started running. I hopped out my vehicle and said, that's the shooter, that's the driver, they're running.
Now, 2 people from the SUV were arrested on scene. 2 others ran and were eventually caught. So now all 4 people are in custody. Now, in the process, 2 local schools were also on lockdown while they were trying to search for the suspects. Obviously, that lockdown has been lifted and the victim has gone to the hospital. Reporting live in Castleberry, Renee Stoll, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Covering Brevard County, a man serving 3 life sentences for the murder of a teenager could be set free during a parole hearing tomorrow. Stephen Harkins was convicted in 1978 of luring a 16-year-old boy to a Cocoa Beach hotel room, sexually battering him, and then stabbing him to death. But Harkins could be released because of a parole official's recommendation based on Harkins' disposition and religious involvement.
New at 6, convicted con man and former boy band mogul Lou Pearlman has just won a $7.5 million settlement in a contract dispute with MTV. More than half of that money is going to go into a fund for people who fell victim to Pearlman's Ponzi scheme. But so far, hundreds of victims say they haven't seen a dime. A court trustee says he hasn't given any money out because he needs to figure out which claims are legitimate. Pearlman is currently serving a 25-year prison term. Republican governors from across the country are meeting in Orlando this week. The Governors Conference is bringing in some big national names, but protecting those high-profile visitors is costing you plenty. Channel 9's George Spencer's here now. And George, protection for this meeting will probably cost the FDLE more than $150,000.
Yeah, that seems to be a fair estimate for the 4-day event, Bob. It is money that the governor's office says is more than repaid through other economic benefits. But FDLE's protection of governors who bring their own protection has some asking if this extra security is even needed. With their telltale earpieces, we saw dozens of FDLE agents keeping watch at Orlando's luxurious Waldorf Astoria today.
To uphold the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
They're supplementing protection for the 27 governors coming to the Republican Governors Association meeting, even though all governors travel with their own state's security detail. Florida taxpayers bear the extra cost.
And if they have their own security, I don't understand how they could justify using the resources here.
Because of security concerns, FDLE won't say how many agents are working the conference until it's over. But taxpayers paid $142,000 for FDLE to cover just 16 governors at the last RGA meeting in Miami in 2008. State legislators warned that protection must be closely watched. Earlier this year, we found governors getting Florida protection for vacations and even when one came to visit a mistress.
As we're scrubbing all of our costs, we need to be very careful about these expenditures.
FDLE says its agents provide the governor's traveling staff with just enough local intelligence, transportation, and logistics know-how to get around safely. Governor Scott will be attending, and his office says this protection is really a duty since other states do the same thing. But as a convention hotspot, Florida likely receives more visitors than it sends out, and no one tracks whether that trade-off nets out evenly. Marty?
All right, thanks, George. Covering Volusia County, in half an hour, New Smyrna Beach commissioners will discuss ethics violations. We found out the Community Redevelopment Agency, which is designed to help businesses, gave grants to its own leaders. According to an agency memo, the agency's chairman used $1,900 to paint his downtown business, which is a violation of state ethics laws. Tonight, the city could adopt a policy prohibiting leaders from applying for these grants.
One of Brevard County's most recognizable landmarks is on the move. Crews have started dismantling the solid rocket boosters and external tank, which have been on display at Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex since the early 90s. They'll make way for a new multi-million-dollar facility, which will become the new home for the Space Shuttle Atlantis.
Well, if you think the housing market is in a downturn, you haven't been to the Villages.
Next, the huge housing boom in that growing community and why housing prices there never dropped as in other areas.
And temperatures are falling through the 60s right now. Coming up, I'm using Future Track 9 to show you how cool it will get in your neighborhood tonight.
New at 6, as the real estate market continues to struggle in Central Florida, we have found one spot that's been immune to the downturn.
The Villages hasn't just avoided a drop in home prices. As Channel 9's Barrett Peterson reports, it's seeing a housing boom right now.
It might be the noisiest neighborhood in Central Florida. Stuart Rhodes just moved in and doesn't mind a bit.
For an adult community, for what we were looking for, this has everything you could imagine.
Despite the collapse of the housing market, home prices have remained stable in the Villages, and new construction here has barely missed a beat.
It's one of the fewest places in the United States right now that is building and developing.
Realtor Marlene Mead says the expansion of the 44,000 home development is easily outpacing any other community in the state.
According to all the permits that have been being pulled in the different areas, yes.
More than 2,100 over the last 12 months, second only to Hillsborough County, which includes the Tampa area.
Another thing you'll notice when you look at the listings are the lack of foreclosures and short sales in the Villages. Now, they still have them, but they're few and far between.
Stuart Rhodes says he knows why. Neighbors with money.
They don't have a revenue problem. They're not looking for work. They're retired. They have pensions and other methods of support.
And Stuart says a lifestyle they don't want to give up. Reporting for the Villages, Barrett Peterson, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Home prices in the Villages range from $130,000 to $470,000. You can check the current home price averages for all of Central Florida online. Just go to the web link section of WFTV.com.
Tonight, Orange County deputies are looking for a man who robbed an Orlando bank this morning. Detectives gave us these surveillance pictures of the suspect wearing a hat and glasses. Investigators say he went into a SunTrust on West Colonial Drive about 11:30 this morning. He implied he had a gun. He got away with an undisclosed amount of money. Covering Lake County, a fugitive wanted for the 1992 murder of a mascot woman is finally in custody tonight. Investigators say 42-year-old Daniel Aguilera assumed a new identity and life in Avon Park, about 2 hours south of Lake County. A fresh tip led U.S. Marshals to him. He is accused of the shooting death of Guacatillo Patino.
Late today, Orange County commissioners took a hard look at a plan that would stop an Apopka landfill from expanding. The city of Apopka and Waste Management want to increase the kinds of waste the facility on Keene Road can take, to include household garbage. But the county is against the expansion. Commissioners delayed a vote until next month. Tonight, a new report suggests more state workers could be getting pink slips next year. The study found layoffs are one way the state is looking to fill a $2 billion budget shortfall. Florida has already made cuts to K-12 education, as well as colleges and prisons. But because of the rising cost of Medicaid, it hasn't been enough. The report also shows the state is considering targeted cuts to various programs, but it wouldn't say which ones.
The city of Winter Park has just approved a controversial land swap deal. Under the deal, the city will trade an old city-owned office building for a privately owned building on Orange Avenue. The city's going to lose about $175,000 in the trade, but the city says the new land will be more valuable once it's developed.
Covering news where you live, county by county tonight. In Volusia County, investigators say they busted a meth lab in Daytona Beach. This is video shot moments after they raided a home on Clare Terrace yesterday. When they searched the place, they found 72 grams of methamphetamine. Police arrested Christopher Secouris for trafficking meth and Zoe McNeely for possession of meth and other drugs. In Marion County, a businesswoman is facing charges for not paying sales taxes. Investigators say 34-year-old Stephanie Bowles failed to send in more than $14,000 in sales tax collections from 2007 through last year from an all-terrain vehicle dealership where she works. In Orange County, Ocoee police are trying to track down a pair of would-be burglars who targeted the wrong house. The owner was inside with cameras rolling when the pair came knocking at a residence in the Westchester subdivision. A woman in a red shirt and tan pants went to the front door. Then a man ran around back and walked into a pool enclosure. But he got frightened off by the homeowners yelling. And in Brevard County, the federal government has just awarded a Melbourne-based company a multi-million-dollar contract to treat active-duty military members and veterans. Harris Corporation is getting a total of $17.1 million to track eye injuries sustained by service members. The government will then use that research to improve treatment procedures on and off the battlefield.
Well, tonight would be a good night to go get your tree if you wanted to feel a nip in the air, you know, when you're looking for your tree and that kind of thing.
So you're implying a real tree there. We learned last night.
Yes, no, mine's all fake, you know, all about an old-fashioned Christmas, but, you know.
But, you know, the logs in the fire, they'll be real. We were talking about that last night,
Those
too.
are right out of the box, too, Brian.
Hey, you know what? Work with me here, Marty. Work with me. We got the holiday spirit out there, at least weather-wise, over the next couple of days across Central Florida. Need a couple of things to get those cold nights, clear sky, low humidity, also a light wind. We're going to have at least two of those three, and that's why we're going to make a run at our coldest night of the season so far, November 12th, about 3 weeks ago, 48 degrees. I think we'll fall just short in downtown Orlando. My forecast low 49, but still going to be plenty chilly tonight across Central Florida. Two things that we are going to have, no doubt about it, the dry air and also the very light wind. Mainly clear right now over downtown Orlando, but look to the west. There are a few patchy clouds still coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico. That will keep temperatures in the mid-40s for the most part across our western counties where we typically see some of our coolest air. Different story, though, for tomorrow. We're going to have 30s on the maps first thing on Thursday morning. More on that in just a bit. Temperatures right now, 61 in Claremont, down 4 degrees in the last hour. Orlando, 62. We made it to 70 this afternoon with that bright blue sky for the most part across Central Florida. 57 right now in Ocala. Here's Future Track 9. Just updated this, and it's picking up on those temperatures that have fallen through the 60s. We'll have 60s and 50s out there as we head toward the 7 o'clock hour. Wake up temperatures right around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Mid-40s around Ocala. Very close to 50 degrees downtown Orlando. Even to the beaches, it's going to be chilly. Cocoa Beach, Melbourne Beach, your temperatures in the low 50s for the most part overnight. Now for tomorrow, high pressure. It's not going anywhere anytime fast. We're going to have a mostly sunny sky tomorrow. Little upper level disturbance comes through, kind of a reinforcing shot of cooler air, and that's why we set the stage for a very chilly night tomorrow. Downtown Orlando from 49 waking up tomorrow to about 65 by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's that cold night for you tomorrow night. Lots of 30s northwest of downtown Orlando with patchy frost, especially for places like Leesburg and the Villages and into Ocala. Here's your 5-day forecast with our weekend in view. We're going to keep highs in the 60s for tomorrow. Also on Thursday, after that chilly start, more of an easterly breeze, more clouds, and a slight chance of rain. Also warmer temperatures as we push toward the weekend.
All right, thanks, Brian. Josh Benson is here now with a look at what we're working on for Eyewitness News at 6:30.
Marty, the sex allegations keep coming for Herman Cain, but now the heat may be too much. His reaction to the latest accusation. And we're digging up new information in the FAMU hazing investigation. The report we just got that shows how long hazing may have been a problem among the band members. After another disappointing season, the Jacksonville Jaguars are making major changes with a new head coach and a new team owner. We'll start with the coach. Jack Del Rio was told before the season that Jacksonville needed to make the playoffs to keep his job. But today, the ninth-year head coach was fired after the 3-8 Jaguars were all but eliminated from playoff contention on Sunday. Defensive coordinator Mel Tucker was named the interim head coach. As for the owner, just hours after firing Del Rio, Wayne Weaver announced he was selling the team to Illinois businessman Shahid Khan. The sale was worth $760 million, according to Forbes. Weaver has owned the team since it was started in 1993 and said that he is confident Khan will keep the team in Jacksonville.
You know, that's my dream, to see this team be successful in Jacksonville. And I found an owner that has that commitment, has that passion.
All right, in the NBA, with the lockout coming to a close, players have been returning from overseas, including Central Florida native and former Florida Gator Chandler Parsons. We caught up with Parsons during last night's Gators game against Stetson at the Amway Center. Parsons had been playing in France during the lockout, but said he signed a contract with an out clause so that he could return to the Houston Rockets, who drafted him in the second round last summer.
It's obviously unfortunate the lockout had to happen, but it was a good time for me to work on my game and spend time with my family, and I spent some time overseas in France, so it was a good opportunity, and I tried to just look at it like a positive.
Now, Parsons and the rest of the NBA players are expected to begin training camp on December 9th. Bob, Marty?
All right, thank you, Joe. And coming up later tonight on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11.
The children of missing mother Michelle Parker are in protective custody right now. What the attorney of Parker's family just told us about the decision. And if you want the latest local and national news right now, you can turn to Central Florida's TV 27 for Eyewitness News at 6:30.
Thanks for watching Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6.
ABC's World News with Diane Sawyer is next.
And for updates between newscasts, check WFTV.com.
When you see flashing lights or hear sirens, that could be breaking news. Call the Eyewitness 9 News line at 1-800-261-1010 or log on to WFTV.com and tell us about it.